All right, I am sorry. Welcome to Community Matters. This is your host, Becky Steinbruner. Time got a bit away from me here. Sign-in procedures changed a bit here at the studio, Santa Cruz Voice Studio, and I was trying to log in on our feature to allow callers, which I had hoped to include, especially in our first hour here. I did not accomplish that yet. So my apologies, and we'll try to get that fixed for next week. Welcome to Community Matters. I am Becky Steinbruner. I'm honored to be your host here from 2 to 4 every Friday afternoon in the Santa Cruz Voice Studio, which is within the Satellite Work and Digital Media Center that's located at 325 Soquel Avenue in Santa Cruz, between Ocean Street and the beautiful San Lorenzo River. If you are looking for a place to do some remote work, occasionally, regularly, whether it's just a home workstation, or maybe you have a small business that you operate primarily from your home, here is the place for you. It is the Satellite Digital Media Work and Digital Media Center. They have open work areas. They have rooms you can have for more privacy or small group meetings. You can even have your mail sent here if you want to have a post office box that may serve your needs. This is a very clean, very quiet, and very secure location, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. You can stop in anytime during business hours, and Olivia, the receptionist, will show you around. Again, it's at 325 Soquel Avenue in Santa Cruz. The second Wednesday of every month is free to come check it out and just see if it fits what you need. Satellite Work and Digital Media Center. We share this space with Santa Cruz Community Television, a gem in our community that records a lot of government meetings, so that if you can't make it to the County Board of Supervisors meeting on a 9 a.m. Tuesday, you can watch it still and hear. Rather than rely on written minutes, you can hear and watch what has been said and discussed. And believe me, that is a huge benefit to public government transparency and their accountability. So again, welcome to Community Matters. As I said, we are here every Friday from 2 to 4. The first hour I'm going to dedicate to continued conversation of the ongoing problem that we have in our area, in our state, in the country, really, but most notably here in the Monterey Bay area around the lithium-ion battery energy storage systems, known as BESS, BESS. And if I can try to get the call in, I will do so. I didn't have a confirmed guest, but encouraged people to call in and join the conversation. Unfortunately, what happened here at Santa Cruz Voice is all of the usual screens we have as hosts to get our programs up and running were deleted, and that's unfortunate, but not impossible, and I'm sure that it'll get put back pretty soon, certainly by next week. So my first hour will be that, and I'm going to continue to try to find the technology. I'm not seeing it in any of the bars for me to be able to hook up the telephone call in, so I apologize for that. My second hour guest will be, luckily, here in the studio, and that will be Miss Sarah Christensen. She is the Executive Officer of the Santa Cruz County Regional Transportation Commission, known as the RTC. She'll be here talking with us from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. about the project that is on the table right now. There are many, but the passenger rail system that has just come out with a feasibility study and I believe is open for public comment. She'll be talking with us about that, about the Highway 1 expansion projects that are happening now and what is coming down the pike, so to speak, and also the trails, the pedestrian bicycle trails that are part of the rail corridor project, and also the overcrossing. Maybe you saw the whale crossing, as people call it, the overcrossing with a whale motif, actually opened up this week. I thought it was going to happen at the end of the month, but I saw people a couple of days ago riding their bikes and standing there looking at the freeway from that thing. So anyway, that's open now. And we'll hear more about that in the second hour that begins at 3:06 with our in-studio guest, Sarah Christensen. And I want to thank her. She's a very busy lady, and she's taking time to come in and join us this afternoon. So let me talk with you, and again, apologize for not having the ability at the moment for you to call in and join the conversation. And I'm very sorry. Things have just changed here on the screen, and the usual method and opportunity for me to hook that technology up is deleted from the screen. So that will not work today. But let me catch you up a little bit on what has been happening in Santa Cruz County, Monterey County, with the battery energy storage system, and what is coming up next week and the week beyond. So Monday evening, that was July 14th, the Never Again Moss Landing group, not in the evening, it was actually at 1:30 in the afternoon, the group held at the Prunedale Grange sort of a second in a series looking at the investigation of the January 16th and continuing Moss Landing Vistra fire, battery energy fire, that harmed so many people and has been handled in such a shockingly dismissive way. The governor did not declare an emergency when that fire happened. Monterey County did not declare a state of emergency when that fire happened, which is shocking to me. And what happened is the fire started on January 16th, burned for many days. People were evacuated for the first 24 hours and then told to just go home and keep their doors and windows closed. The EPA did not sample properly. They did not sample for the most toxic component of that, the hydrogen fluoride gas, that is lighter than air and goes up. When they did arrive finally, they sampled for that gas at ground level and then said, everything's fine. We don't detect any of this at all. It was the citizen group, Never Again Moss Landing, that came together with Tanya Rivera and Brian Roeder leading the organization of this group of people. And people like Mr. Ed Mitchell, who have joined in, and a host of others, but Ed Mitchell has joined in to really delve in and do an investigation. I had invited Mr. Mitchell really at the last minute to join us here today and did not hear. And it's a good thing because the technology is not available today for him to join us via telephone. But I hope to have him as my guest next Friday to catch us up with what he has learned about what caused the Vistra fire. What has he learned? As you may or may not know, the governor Governor Newsom demanded an investigation. The California Public Utilities Commission that regulates these facilities demanded an investigation. And so far, there has been nothing released to the public about the cause of that fire. But many people have been injured. Many people have had to leave their homes because when they return to their homes, it is so contaminated they cannot function. And yet those who are responsible for providing protection, for ensuring that things, rules are being followed, that testing's being done and reported, are simply not doing their job. And that includes the federal EPA, the California EPA, the County of Monterey. And to be here in Santa Cruz County, where the plume also traveled, Santa Cruz County really has done nothing. Santa Cruz County supervisors refuse to hold town halls with constituents. We all know that smoke and everything within it does not stop at a county border. And the plume did travel over Santa Cruz County. So I'm hoping to get Mr. Ed Mitchell on here as my guest next Friday. I continue to talk about this issue every week because it is so important. So many people have been injured. And the fact that Monterey County and Santa Cruz County are continuing to allow and in fact support more of the battery energy storage system facilities, the BESS facilities, to be built and operational using lithium technology, maybe a slightly different chemistry, but the same lithium batteries that are prone to fire and explosion. And our counties are supporting this and not talking with the people, refusing to hold town hall meetings. And so I really want to take my hat off to the grassroots groups who are doing that job. Never Again Moss Landing. Look up their website, neveragainmosslanding.org. And now I'd like to pivot to an event that happened last night that was organized by another grassroots group, Stop Lithium BESS, Battery Energy Storage Systems in Santa Cruz County. That group is a grassroots group. And there's another one that is the smaller and less active, but they commingle. And that's Clean, Safe Energy Storage for California. That's a separate group, but many of us also are part of the Stop Lithium BESS in Santa Cruz County group. That group, the Stop Lithium BESS in Santa Cruz County, was initiated by Nina and Greg Adino. After hearing last October the Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors discuss and approve 3 potential sites for these lithium battery containers in Santa Cruz County. Those 3 sites, one at 19 Minto Road off of Green Valley in Watsonville. The second one, Aptos, at a substation, a power substation on Freedom Boulevard, right across from Aptos High School. And the third is immediately adjacent to Dominican Hospital, the back parking lot. There's another electrical substation there. They call it the Paul Sweet Road project. It's actually would be coming off of a smaller road called Houts, Houts, Houts Road, I think it is, which comes off of Mission. And so Greg and Nina Adino really launched their effort, and because they live near the proposed and in permit process facility on 19 Minto Road, and were appalled at how little information the county was willing to provide people, how there had been no town hall meetings about this issue at all, save the one that the New Leaf Energy applicant for the 90 Minto Road project did back on December 12th of 2024, because it was a requirement for them to submit their permit application. They held the meeting at a Mesty school on December 12th. The postcards, however few there were, many people who live right next to the site did not receive one. But I did see one of the postcards that were sent out, and it provided no time at all for when the meeting was going to happen. And so what a surprise that that district supervisor, Felipe Hernandez, who did attend and very much supports this project, said, well, we're not many people there. Gee, I wonder why. So here we have it. The meeting last night was very well attended. I would say between 150, 200 people were there. It was held at the Simkin Swim Center in Live Oak. The Stop Lithium BESS in Santa Cruz County group has provided essentially town hall meetings to help educate the public and inform them about what is going on, what they can do to get involved, to stop it, or to what they are asking for is a moratorium in Santa Cruz County on lithium battery energy storage, grid scale. We're not talking about the lithium battery in your phone or whatever, although those are very, risky too. But the lithium technology for the large, it's called grid scale, utility scale facilities, is too dangerous, too risky. And so the meeting last night was the third of these town hall meetings, public meetings, that the Stop Lithium and BESS in Santa Cruz County group has put on. The first two were near the Minto Road area because that project is racing along with the help of the county to become permitted. It has the permit application was filed on December 17th of 2024. Many of the studies had already been done that were required for the application. A year in advance they had been done, including the risk assessment, which failed to even include any of the densely populated areas nearby, including Minto Road itself, including Shapiro Knolls on Minto Road, that is a large, affordable, 100% affordable housing complex of over 80 families, and failed to include the subdivision immediately next to the substation where this would go, known as Diamond Estates. Failed to include just a little further down the whole very dense subdivision on Amador Drive. Failed to include the sensitive habitat of College Lake, which is just right on the border of this proposed project that is now a water source for the Pajaro Valley Water Management Agency's irrigation use of our food. And failed to include that it is less than a mile as the wind blows heading toward the Santa Cruz County Fairgrounds, which is this county's evacuation center for people and livestock. So last night there were speakers that discussed different things, different issues. One was Nina Adino talking about her research And let me tell you, she is an excellent researcher and has presented a lot of information about the different fires that have come about due to the grid scale lithium ion technology. Moss Landing, what happened in Moss Landing is the worst and the largest, but not the only one. And that's the problem that we are hearing, in that the industry is saying, oh, Moss Landing, that was just kind of a freak thing, a one-off, and that's not going to happen here again. Well, it can, and it will. According to the research that Nina presented, and you can go on the website, stoplithiumbessinSantaCruzCounty.org, and find a lot of the information that was discussed last night. It was also recorded, so I expect that that meeting will be posted on the website very soon as well. And let me say that the people paid, the organizers paid for all of this out of their own pockets. The rental of the Simkin Center, the AV system, so there were microphones and projectors, so there could be information projected for the presentations, and also for the video recordings that will be posted. These people care about the people of the community and spent their own money. And for the signs and flyers. There's a mighty army of people that have come together because they care so much. I encourage you to go to the website, Stop Lithium BESS in Santa Cruz County, and get involved if you can. So Nina Adino's research talked about how while the chemistry presented in that happened in the Moss Landing fire is, quote, the old technology, and granted it was a horrid design that never should have been approved, but was approved, to have so many batteries packed into an open space like it was. But the problem is that the industry is saying, oh, we've got this new technology. What happened in Moss Landing was the nickel, manganese, cobalt technology. And that's the heavy metals that went up in smoke and has now polluted a wide swath of farmland, homes, environment, heading into Prunedale and Royal Oaks area. If you go on Never Again Moss Landing website, you can look and see the plume that was verified by not only the citizen science that took place shortly after the fire, but also how it comports with the detailed, well-documented research material of Dr. Ivan Ielo from Moss Landing Marine Labs, San Jose State University. It's all there. We don't want that to happen anywhere. But we're being told by the industry, oh, well, this newer technology is safer. That's the lithium iron phosphate technology. And it's not going to, these newer sites, they will be in containers. They will be in containers that are prone to toxic gas, flammable gas buildup and explosion. And that is the truth. What we're being told is, don't worry, it's all fine. And the materials that the industry is sending into the regulators is following that narrative with an analysis of one battery and faulty smoke plume models. They're not evaluating the worst case. And according to Nina's research, this lithium iron phosphate technology is new. We are the guinea pigs. And what we're seeing in other countries that have been using this technology, like China and South Korea, they're seeing fires in that technology too, once the batteries get to about 4 years old. because they start to, in the cycling, in the maybe the abuse, the overcharging, undercharging, or even mechanical damages, they start to wear out, and the result is thermal runaway, fire, explosive, toxic gases. And that's what we have to look forward to in our county, in Monterey County, if we continue to allow lithium battery storage. There are alternatives, and it befuddles me that no county government or industry that is working with the county government will slow down their ambitious goals of 100% renewable energy by 2030. That's this county's goal, because that is Central Coast Community Energy 3CE's goal, and it is unrealistic. And they will not slow it down to allow time for other alternative storage, battery storage technologies that are on the near horizon to be tested and to be implemented. You have to wonder, what's the rush? They're convinced that we're all going to die because of climate change if we don't get this done. Really? I'd like to see that study. So, the group last night was excellent, and I want to say that Nina Adino had a great presentation she had obtained from Ron Cabrera, a retired battalion fire chief from Orange County. He talked in the video about how the current testing level that is being allowed for these battery energy storage systems is inadequate. As a fire official, this is what he's saying. He is saying that there is toxic smoke, and that lithium battery technology simply is not safe. He outlined that what we need to be asking for is a long-range testing of the worst case scenario, not a single battery igniting. Right now, that's the model that the developers are using, and that the counties and the state are willing to accept, and that is not acceptable. So they need to do long-term fire testing. He showed a few slides that showed batteries being igniting, and that you have to let them burn for 6 hours to really understand how it all operates. The University of Nevada at Reno has done a lot of work on this, and we need to be telling our officials that we insist that there be real-world conditions built into any testing, the worst case scenario, not what is going to happen with one battery burning. And we need to demand there are real plume study models. He showed the real world plume model for a facility that at night the plume would travel 6 miles and in a broad way. Using the current analyses, it doesn't show that at all. Not at all. And that is supported by what the 90 Minto Road developer, New Leaf Energy Systems, is telling the county in their application that it is highly unlikely there would be a fire, and that if there were, the smoke plume would stay within the footprint of the project. That is because they can make these stupid, unrealistic claims using the computer modeling system that they are being allowed to use. And that simply has to stop. We as people need to demand that our county supervisors insist on adopting codes that are more stringent than what the state has right now. Those state codes are in the process of changing. And in fact, next week I will be going to Sacramento to the State Fire Marshal's Symposium on Battery Energy Storage Fire Code Updates. And I'll have that information for you on our program next Friday. But those codes are being updated. In the meantime, they won't get implemented until next year. But in the meantime, Santa Cruz County Board of Supervisors right now is looking at approving the ordinance that would allow these battery energy storage systems to be sited on these 3 locations I described to you: 19 Minto Road in Watsonville, across from Aptos High School on Freedom Boulevard, and next to Dominican Hospital between Houts Drive and Paul Sweet Road. The County Board of Supervisors is poised to allow all of that to happen. On September 9th is the date that they have currently set. That was postponed from April 25th originally. And let me tell you, because of Public Records Act requests information, I know that the developer and their consultant are writing this county's ordinance. It is not the people. There have been no public meetings. There has been no public input. There has been very little staff input as far as I could see, because Dudek, New Leaf Energy's consultant, is making their own determinations of county definitions of things and telling the county, this is what we think. And the county staff is saying, okay. You should also know that Governor Newsom's Office of Business Development, Economic Development, is working fast and furious to develop templates for all state agencies, all agencies within the state. It's called Go Biz, and they've got it out right now. Templates that counties and cities can use to just basically rubber stamp these projects. Look it up. There's a video that's pretty shocking. Go, that's a capital G, capital O, hyphen, biz, B-I-Z, as in zebra, and watch that video and just see what's coming down the pike with the fast and furious, whatever goes attitude that the state has that is even more feverish here in Santa Cruz County. The whole point they're claiming is that climate change is in crisis, and we must limit our carbon use to be neutral by the state's goal is 2045. Santa Cruz County's goal for 100% renewable energy is 2030. 2030, 5 years from now. Think about that. How realistic is that? And why? Why did they make that? It's because 3CE, Central Coast Community Energy, made that goal to promise to their customers. 3CE began in operation in 2017. 3CE expanded to become now, it was first Monterey Bay Community Power, started by Supervisor Bruce McPherson and Carlos Palacios, our county's administrative officer. They had others too. But they were the movers and shakers, along with Supervisor McPherson's analyst, Miss Jenny Johnson. They were the movers and shakers to get this off the ground. And it has since expanded to other counties all the way down, and cities, all the way down to Santa Barbara. And they changed their name to accommodate that expansion. The name is now Central Coast Community Energy, or 3CE. When 3CE, or Monterey Bay Community Power as it was known then, started up in 2017, if you did not opt out, you were automatically made a customer of theirs. And that is why 93, maybe 95% of the customers in Santa Cruz County are 3CE customers. you didn't really have a choice. Or if you did, maybe you didn't know it. So you can opt out. You can still opt out. And that is exactly what we discussed last night at the Stop Lithium BESS in Santa Cruz County public meeting at Live Oak Swim Center. Because here's why we are urging people to opt out of 3CE. 3CE has adopted this crazy goal of 100% renewable energy in 5 years from now, 2030. And that's to serve their own economic interest, to serve their own marketing tool for their company. 3CE has not been transparent with the public to admit that they support lithium battery energy storage systems. 3CE did not divulge to the public, as we have been attending their board meetings, which are open to the public. You can find them when they're going to happen on the 3CE website, and just use that as a Google search term, or whichever search you use. A search term, 3CE Power California, and it'll come up. And you can go to the board meetings and agendas. And since the Moss Landing fire happened, people have been going to their board meetings and urging them to not support the lithium technology. And it was only through the astute research of Ms. Nina Adino that it became known at a recent Santa Cruz County Commission on the Environment meeting, when they were talking about this issue of battery storage publicly. And one of the staff members from 3CE was there giving a presentation. Ms. Nina Adino said, well, tell us about the Clearway project in Monterey County. Why has 3CE continuing to support lithium-ion battery construction in our area? This is the Holman BESS project with Clearway. And the man, Mr. Dyke O'Neill, stammered. He stammered and said, that's public knowledge. That's public knowledge, part of the record. Well, it is, but you have to know that it happened to go looking for it, don't you? And certainly 3CE has never admitted any of that to the people who have continually been showing up and asking this question: do you support lithium or do you not? Please do not. Aren't you liable for the damage to these, to the people, to the environment, by lithium if you support it? And they just don't answer. They just don't answer, and they never respond. Never respond in writing or verbal. So thanks to Nina Adino for finding this, because it is now obvious that 3CE does support lithium, and they are supporting new lithium battery energy storage systems in Monterey County, and maybe in Santa Cruz County too. We just haven't found the date. You can look it up. It was last November when 3CE board, on their consent agenda, approved a special agreement with Holman BESS LLC to fund and support the Clearway Energy Storage Project in Monterey County. So what we're recommending is that everybody opt out of 3CE and boycott. We need to boycott them because that's the only way we're going to get their attention. It's the only way that we're going to get the county's attention, because believe you me, the two are braided together. If you look at the Santa Cruz County Climate Action and Adaptation Plan, which is the county's blueprint for what will happen in this county to be better environmental stewards, in the energy section, it talks about how 3CE is the leader for the county in energy storage projects. And if all projects are only focused on 3CE, well, what about PG&E? The county's project does not even mention PG&E. The county's climate action plan does not mention PG&E only in the context of the power safety shutoffs. That's it. So the county and 3CE are one. Neither of those agencies is paying attention to the people, and the only way that the people are going to get them to pay attention is to hit them in the pocketbook. And that's going to require people who are 3CE customers to opt out of being 3CE customers. And you can do it. You can do it online. Go to the 3ceenergy.org, and you have to Google opt out. You have to search for opt out, because if you just go to their website, you don't see it. But if you use as a search term opt out 3CE, it comes up. And it talks about the different facilities, and if you're still interested in opting out, here's how you do it. So do it. You can do it online. You have to provide your account number from your bill, and you have to agree to be customers of PG&E for 1 year. And if you're a resident, residential customers have to pay $5. Commercial customers have to pay $25. But opt out and tell them why. That's the important piece. You can also do it by phone. And here's the phone number. It's on the website, but I'll give it to you now. It's 1-877-455-2223. Again, 1-877-455-2223. That's the number to call during business hours to opt out of 3CE. Now, I received, we opted out early on because it just seemed like a pretty shady deal to us, our family. And but I have talked with people who have elected to opt out, having been a 3CE customer. 3CE just raised their rates, by the way. And now we received a card, understanding your energy choice. And guess what? It's the same, or virtually the same cost for PG&E as it is for 3CE. The cost is the same. The difference is that 3CE claims their power is from renewable sources. And on the card it shows 55.8% comes from renewable sources. PG&E is 22.9%. But if you go down to the bottom, 3CE says 43.8% of their power comes from unspecified sources. So that's defined as electricity that is not traceable to a specific generating facility, such as electricity traded through open market transactions. Unspecified sources of power are typically a mix of all resource types and may include renewables. So many people feel good about being a 3CE customer because it is maybe more environmentally friendly, but maybe not. Think about the cost and the risk of these battery energy storage facilities. Think about what happened in Moss Landing. Think about what could happen at Minto Road with over 300 storage containers filled with lithium batteries. And that is what our county and what 3CE is pushing. So opt out of 3CE and tell them you are doing it as a boycott of lithium battery technology, and you will not return as a customer until they adopt a moratorium on lithium battery technology. Do that today and send a letter to the board letting them know. And here's why. Because the board, I attended their executive board meeting a couple of weeks ago, and it's already beginning to happen, and they are worried. They are worried because they are in debt for a lot of projects that they have signed on to. Some of them are lithium. And if they don't know that you are opting out of their service because of their actions of not being accountable to the people, not being transparent with the people about their policies regarding lithium-ion battery storage, then they need to know, and they need to adopt a moratorium. The Stop Lithium BESS in Santa Cruz County group had letters available at the meeting last night, and I do believe that they are posted on the website in English and in Spanish. So please talk with your neighbors and take that action yourself today. It will make a difference. Boycott Central Coast Community Energy. It would be good to do against PG&E too, but as I have pointed out, PG&E is so huge, it's harder to take an action. 3CE is more local, and they have to take an action if enough of their customers demand it, with a boycott and opting out. So please do that today. You're listening to Community Matters. I'm honored to be your host here, Becky Steinbrunner. I'm going to wrap up here in a little bit, and the second hour, I hope you will stay listening, is I will have an in-studio guest, Miss Sarah Christensen, and she is the manager, the CEO of Santa Cruz County Regional Transportation Commission, the RTC. She'll be talking with us about the zero emission transportation, passenger rail transportation project, the highway widening that we're all seeing and suffering through. But I think it's going to make it all better. I'm very curious about the pedestrian overcrossings that are wrapping up and now open. The whale motif one is now open, but there's a second one being planned and soon constructed in Aptos. The segment 12 that is the area between State Park Drive and Freedom Boulevard is the one that is going to be most curious to watch, because there are a number of train crossings over highway, two over Highway 1 and one, I believe, over SoCal Drive next to Aptos Creek, Aptos Village, over Aptos Creek. And there will be separate bridges built in all of those. So we'll hear more about all of that in the second hour from Sarah Christensen, RTC Executive Officer. So stay tuned. And I am very apologetic. The technology for being able to call in has disappeared, at least as near as I can see, from our operation board here at the studio. So I am just very sorry. I'll try to have that ready and back up for next week, but unfortunately you will not be able to call in now, and likely not in the second hour, unless a staff member from Santa Cruz Voice pops in during the break and helps me establish the call-in ability here. So, to wrap up here, regarding the battery energy storage situation, we all need to opt out. If you haven't already, opt out of 3CE. What's coming up next week will be the State Fire Marshal Battery Energy Storage System Code Regulation update symposium. I'm going to go up in person to Sacramento to that because I want to talk with people and I want to be able to have my questions answered. I will tell you that I participated remotely in Monday's day-long 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. PG&E symposium on this and asked remote questions in the chat, and they were not asked. The moderator did not ask them, but I noted that all of the people who were in the conference room, the site, had their questions addressed, and that's where I want to be. And I want to talk with people. So I'm going to attend that next week, and I will report to you next Friday what I learned. Also coming up in the near future is the Santa Cruz County Commission on the Environment, second of 3 public meetings regarding battery energy storage systems in this county. That will be, the second one will be July 30th at 5 p.m. That will be in the 701 Ocean Street, 5th floor, County Board of Supervisors chambers. And they also have a remote participation available. I do not believe that the agenda has yet been posted, but the issues will be battery safety and siting issues coming up. There will be a third one in August, the end of August as well, and supposedly the speakers are all set for that. The Stop Lithium BESS in Santa Cruz County group will also be having another town hall meeting in August, and that is to be determined, and I will bring you that information as soon as I know it. But if you look on that wonderful website, Stop Lithium BESS in Santa Cruz County, you'll find information about that and other topics as soon as it is known. And I want to thank all of the people who are working so hard to get this information out to the people. Our county supervisors are failing us, and we must demand that they hold town hall meetings about this, implement a moratorium on lithium battery energy storage grid scale projects in our county, and convene a panel of experts. I left everything set up from the previous, so you could be there or here, whatever you
where I
prefer.
sat last time.
Okay, excellent. And I have some water for you here.
Oh, thank
it's
you.
just tap
That's-
water.
Yeah.
And these are for you. Thank you so
Aw.
much.
No
It's
need
a
to-
big effort to come in, and you're so busy.
My
so-
office is really close by,
Yeah.
don't worry. And then I'm heading home after this and
Oh, good.
starting my weekend.
Good.
So,
Good.
yeah, it's
Well,
Friday
I
afternoon.
appreciate it very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something happened here at the studio, and so all of the usual programs we have on our screen to link things up got erased.
Oh, no.
So we can go on the air, but I can't have people call in.
Oh.
So
Oh, no.
that's a bummer.
Well, okay.
Yeah, I'm very sorry. I have looked. Let me see if I can find. And I want to assure you, I'm not gonna jump into Mr. Steinberg's
Please.
thing.
I
I'm not.
I hope
No, I'm not
that
gonna
doesn't
go
come
there
up.
because that's a whole private thing. And it was actually my husband that wanted to know about the steam train thing. He really wanted that, but we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, I just haven't heard anything about it, and
Uh-huh.
sometimes we do get these kind of proposals. We've never really had one come to fruition because
Yeah. It came
it's difficult.
through actually a few years ago.
Oh, okay.
Golden Gate Steam Railroad Museum approached the RTC to
Okay.
have facilities here, and they had talked it up with Roaring Camp, and Roaring Camp
Right.
was really happy about
Yeah.
it. Um, but something fell through at the very end. We went to the one public meeting that the museum people had, and it was gonna be. It sounded like it was gonna be wonderful. You know, they could do the repairs and certifications for Roaring Camp.
Mm.
They could have educational, science-based things about steam technology
Mm.
and building it with history,
Oh wow.
and it just sounded wonderful. And they would run one excursion a month and time it with, big events like the Wharf to Wharf or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But it fell through. So I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's hard to get things done along the rail line.
Yeah,
It's complex,
yeah,
challenging. Yeah.
yeah.
So.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Under a lot of
We have a lot going on.
stress.
It's an exciting time. It's just, yeah, I've been able to balance it out. You know, like, still have a lot of good family time, and I took a little vacation with my family a couple weeks ago, so that was nice. Yeah, I'm making it
Excellent.
work. Yeah.
Excellent. It's a good balance to keep. I'm just checking these little icons on the bottom. It's just not there. I don't know what happened. I'm very sorry.
No, it's
Were
okay.
you
Don't worry
relying?
about
Were
it.
you hoping someone
No,
would call you?
I'm just, yeah,
I
I'm
think
here
we
to.
have plenty to talk about.
Yeah, sure.
Really.
Yeah,
So
it's just good to get. I mean, it's information to get out
yeah.
to a different, media. Like, there's not a lot of radio. I've done a couple radio interviews, but
Mm.
it's not very common. I do a lot of calling to the reporters and stuff, and every so
Uh-huh.
often, like the other type of, on camera interviews and things like that.
Uh-huh.
But not very often I do radio.
Radio.
So,
Well,
why
if
not?
you'd like, it's so unfortunate. KSCO has kind of gone a whole different way.
Yeah, I did an interview with them a while ago, like right after I started.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But,
There's one program that's very popular. We'll be on the air in 30 seconds, but
okay.
it's called Flight 1080. They're on from 4 until 6 at KSCO.
Okay.
And maybe you could get on there. I don't know which. We'll do a test. Do you want to? You'll need to get it close. You want to test?
Test. Do I need these?
Only, no, you won't. You won't because you only have to do that if someone calls in. Okay, ready? Here we go. And welcome back to Community Matters. I'm your host, Becky Steinbrunner. I'm honored to be here with you for another hour. And I hope that you appreciated the recap of the Santa Cruz County BESS situation in the first hour. I'm honored to have here in the studio with me my guest, Miss Sarah Christensen from the Santa Cruz County Regional Transportation Commission. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, Becky.
Wow.
Thanks
Can
for
you
having me.
speak a little bit more? We'll do a sound check here again. Can you speak again, please?
Test.
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 Oh, try again, please.
Test.
There we are.
Okay.
All right, very good.
Thanks for having me, Becky.
My pleasure, indeed. Thank you. Thank you for coming to the studio. It's always the best to have in-person interviews, and I really appreciate your effort and all that you're doing out there. Start off, please, by telling us a little bit about yourself, please.
Sure. Well, I was actually
born and raised in Santa Cruz. I, went to school and studied civil and environmental engineering. I got a master's in transportation management and started my career in engineering and consulting for clients across the state, mainly in the Bay Area. But I always wanted to move back home to Santa Cruz. And so I had the opportunity to do that in 2017. I came back home to Santa Cruz and joined the Santa Cruz County Regional Transportation Commission as the senior engineer to deliver Measure D projects after the 2016 Measure D passed. And boy, have we done a lot since then.
Yeah.
So I managed the Highway 1 projects and programs that are now we're seeing the first phase of that opening and coming to fruition after the 2016 measure. So it's really an exciting time today. Let's see. And then I was appointed to the executive director role back in September. So I'm coming up on almost a year.
Wow. Congratulations.
And thank you.
That's a huge job.
Yeah.
I really take my hat off to you for managing it all.
Thank you.
So thank you. Tell us a little bit about what is the Regional Transportation Commission? Is it required to be here, and does every county have one?
Yeah, every region does have a regional transportation planning agency that is in charge of long range planning for the region. We receive and were formed after the Transportation Development Act, which was a state law in it was 1973. And, that was a source of revenue for transportation planning. So it's a quarter-cent statewide. It's TDA funds, Transportation Development Act funds. So we've been a planning agency since that time. And every region does have an agency like ours that's required to do the long-range planning. So the Regional Transportation Plan is the RTP is our long-range plan. And then we do a lot of other types of planning work that, meets our requirement as the RTPA or the planning agency for the region. But what makes our agency a little bit unique is that we also own property. So we own the branch rail line that we purchased back in 2012. And then we also administer our half-cent sales tax measure for transportation, which we're very fortunate to have. And that's why a lot of our transportation improvements are coming to fruition and being delivered, is because the voters of our county voted to tax ourselves to pay for, transportation improvements like the highway improvements, the coastal rail trail, road rehabilitation, and additional funds for Metro for their operations.
Yeah.
Paratransit. So we're really fortunate to have that Measure D in place, and that's allowing us to be able to do all the incredible projects that we're working on.
Yeah, and getting some unprecedented funding from the state, right?
Exactly, yeah.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
I would love to talk about that. So Measure D, again, not every county in the state has a self-help measure in place. So we're very fortunate. We're one of a handful of counties that has a half a cent. And that money, we basically use that money to advance our projects and get them construction ready. And then if you have your projects construction ready, they're more competitive for state and federal grant funds. And so we have kind of leveraged our Measure D funds to bring in an unprecedented amount of resources to our region proportionally across the state. I mean, we took home, I think, 20% of the available statewide funding.
Wow.
And we are a very small county.
Yeah, the second smallest in the state.
Exactly. So we're getting kind of more of our fair share, but it's all because of the types of projects that our community prioritizes, which are sustainable projects like active transportation projects, not just road widening projects, right? So elsewhere, say Central Valley, maybe their priority is just adding lanes, right? But we're taking a more sustainable approach and building projects like bicycle and pedestrian bridges, the coastal rail trail. That's really unique and multimodal, and our multimodal approach paired with having the Measure D has really gotten us to where we've, that's why we're getting so many competitive grants. And so the last one we just got, which was at the end of June, was $128.7 million.
Yeah.
Which is the biggest grant we've ever received.
Yeah.
And it funds a whole slew of transportation improvements throughout the county between Watsonville and Santa Cruz. It includes rapid improvements for Metro, so platforms and improvements to their bus stations and real-time displays, transit signal priority infrastructure. So it was about $11 million for that. About $21 million is going to fund SoCal Drive improvements. So if you have been out on SoCal Drive between Santa Cruz and Aptos, you can see it looks like a brand new road, and there's all new traffic signals that are all synchronized. And bicycle, buffered and protected bike lanes and green paint. And so the grant we just received would extend that from State Park Drive all the way to Freedom Boulevard, another 2.5 miles or so along SoCal Drive. So that's about $21 million and that's a county project.
Oh.
And then the rest goes toward our Highway 1, the phase 3 of Highway 1, which hasn't started construction, obviously. So the construction that you see out there today ends at State Park Drive. The grant that we were just awarded is for the project between State Park Drive all the way to Freedom Boulevard. And that's kind of the most constrained part of our county, right in the middle of our county. And this project's really, truly going to be transformative, not just for the Aptos area, but for the entire region, because it's such a pinch point for cross-county travel right in that Aptos Village area.
That has been historically the case. If you talk with Sandy Leiden,
Oh, yeah.
He has many stories about that area being a pinch point. So when might that work begin, that piece?
We are scheduled to start construction in 2027.
Ah, okay. And I assume that will begin once what we're seeing now is completed. Is that how it's going to work, or will they blend?
Yeah, so the construction all the way to State Park Drive, that project will be done. It's scheduled to be done at the end of 2026.
Ah, okay.
So it won't, I don't think it will overlap. It might.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And there will be a new pedestrian overcrossing as part of that. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
So there's actually 2 bridges going up. The Capitola Avenue Bridge, which you could see being built right now. And then they are working on the foundation work for the Mar Vista pedestrian and bicycle overcrossing. And that bridge will be similar to the Whale Bridge or the Chanticleer bicycle pedestrian overcrossing, but a little bit different with aesthetics. So it's going to have, it won't have whales. It will have, we're calling it the Misty Redwood theme with kind of like a fog line with redwood trees. But, similar aesthetics with, we might as well make it look nice with. We're going to have to look at it for, the next probably 50 years. So
hopefully longer.
And, make low cost investments into aesthetics. It really makes it special. And so, the Capitola Avenue Bridge will say Capitola on it.
Oh.
And it will have starfish kind of staying with the marine theme. And then the Mar Vista Bridge will have the Misty Redwood theme. And that's going up kind of they go from the ground up. So they're just starting on the foundations, and they'll work their way up, and it should be done probably end of 2026, I would say. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Interesting. The whale overcrossing, I call it. I like that motif. It opened up this week.
It did. We removed the gates on Tuesday, and I was able to walk across it for the first time without my hard hat. And there were quite a few people up there, and people were in great spirits, and it seems like the community is really excited about it. We're actually hosting a ribbon cutting celebration for the community to kind of commemorate this moment of opening this big, beautiful, piece of infrastructure that the community is going to be able to enjoy for, decades to come. So July 30th, it's a Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. And it's going to be on the SoCal Avenue side of the bridge. There's a little parking lot underneath the bridge, kind of on the how do I orient this? Like the east side of the West Marine parking lot.
Yes.
There's a smaller parking lot. It's going to be at that location.
Kind of near where I think Staples and that whole area.
Right.
Great.
So yeah, we'll have signage, and we'll have free bike valet and
Fun.
giveaways, and it'll be a great community celebration.
Very fun.
Yeah.
Very fun. And I have wondered, was that built to be able to accommodate, say, emergency vehicles, like an ambulance? Could they drive over that if need be?
So pedestrian and bicycle bridges are designed to, like the loading is designed for maintenance trucks. So it's not intended to serve, obviously, emergency vehicles, but
If
for
something
maintenance.
were happened in Highway 1 were closed, and could it be used?
I don't think that would
Okay.
probably not.
It looks so sturdy,
It is,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, from a loading standpoint, it probably could, but it's a bicycle and pedestrian overcrossing. It's not intended to serve any kind of vehicular traffic. Yeah,
Except the maintenance vehicles.
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, well, that's good to know.
yeah.
Well, I look forward to that July 30th event, and I was surprised to see people up there waving at the traffic and all of that
Yeah.
a couple of days ago. So we can expect another one like that in Aptos. When is the Chanticleer overcrossing? Not the Chanticleer, but the Capitola Avenue. When is that scheduled to be done?
We're hoping to open that by the end of this calendar year.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a little delay with some of you could see the retaining walls on both sides. The bridge was ready to move forward, but the retaining walls, we had a few little things that came up that were unforeseen that caused a little delay. So it's taken a couple months longer than we originally scheduled. But we'll open it when it's ready to open. In advance of the rest of the project, right? So they'll still be working on the roadway, the highway improvements. But
Yeah.
when the bridge is done, we'll open it.
Yeah, that's very
Yeah.
neat. I have noticed it's a very wet area. There's a lot of like a high water table or perched water table maybe there.
And it's like that. I feel like it's like that everywhere in our county. Everywhere, every time we dig and try to build projects, we have to design for that.
Huh. Interesting. That's interesting, considering that the water districts all say we're in critical overdraft and the groundwater tables are dropping and all that. We've got water issues there. So, okay, well, let's move on. Let's talk about the project that has been in the news a lot, the zero emission passenger rail. Talk with us a little bit about that. Where is that
Sure.
now, and how can people get involved?
Sure. So, the zero emission passenger rail and trail project it started really after the 2022 citizens initiative that had to do with the rail line, and our commission, they're not always aligned on what to do with the rail line, but at that time they directed staff to, following the result of that election.
That was the second measure D, correct?
Yes. Yes. So that, measure D 2022, it showed that, people want rail, and what does rail look like for our county?
Yeah.
So we proceeded with a study to do a little bit more engineering work and modeling work to answer some of the big questions that the community and the commission have about what rail looks like in our community. And so that's really the purpose of this concept development, is to do a little bit of engineering, quite a bit of cost estimating, and ridership modeling to answer the big questions. And the big questions being, well, how much is it going to cost to build, right? And how much is it going to cost to operate and maintain? And how many people are going to use it? And how long is it going to take for me to get from Watsonville to Santa Cruz, or Santa Cruz to Watsonville? So travel time. So the information we have out now is the concept. It's the this is what rail looks like. It's not the full report yet. We're still reviewing, and we're going to be putting that out in the next couple of weeks. But we've released the executive summary, which really has all the meat in it.
Yeah.
And it's very informative, and it's helpful for us to understand what rail looks like for our community. So, and then at the last meeting, we were directed to do some financial analysis. I mean, I think that there were some concerns about the cost estimates and how expensive this project is going to be for our county to deliver. And so we're in the process of also preparing that financial analysis, and we plan to bring that to the commission at our next meeting in August.
Can you talk about those price tags? I've seen them, and they've been in the news a lot. But can you talk about the price tags and how that came to be?
Sure. Well, our line is pretty unique in that it is a single track freight railroad in its current use. The condition is not very good. A lot of the infrastructure is at the end of its useful life, and needs to be replaced, including the track bed and most of the bridges. And we are unique in that our line has many bridges that span over waterways, and the topography in Santa Cruz. I mean, I think we have a total of 37 bridges throughout the 32-mile line that goes from Davenport to Pajaro. So that's pretty unique. That's a lot of infrastructure. And so, in talking to our peer agencies elsewhere, whenever I bring that up, they're always very surprised because, they have a handful of bridges. We have maybe triple the amount of bridges. So that, that's unique to Santa Cruz. That's unique to our branch line. And that is one of the main reasons why the cost is what it is, because it's, the infrastructure is, there's a lot of it, and it's not in very good shape. So the total project cost is about $4.3 billion, and that was including the capital cost, which is how much it costs to actually, build the facility, as well as the support costs and all the things that go into it.
The staging for construction and all of that. Yeah.
Right. And the other thing that, to have a functioning rail transit facility, we would have to build a pretty sizable maintenance and operation facility, which is like, I was looking at the plans and the information. It's, over 20 acres of land we would need to acquire and build multiple buildings. And that's I suppose that was what was the most surprising to me. I didn't realize it was going to be that big of an undertaking, but that's included in the
Yeah.
price tag, and it's essential to have that so that we can effectively function, right, and
Yeah.
operate.
Yeah.
So
Can Santa Cruz County RTC partner with Monterey County? I know they've got that rail yard down there in Pajaro that they're looking at actually making a passenger rail station at. That's a pretty big piece of land. Is that a possibility to partner with them?
so we are very involved with the TMC Pajaro Station project. We're
Yeah.
partnering with them on that. They don't own all the right of way out there. Union Pacific Railroad owns a lot of the property out there, and yeah, there's not a lot of surplus, like extra right of way laying around.
Yeah.
And if we would need our own facility basically. Yeah, but it would need to be in South County. That would make the most amount of sense. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And hopefully that would encourage the passenger rail to really serve South County. I
Right.
see that's where the need is the greatest, really. Um, I suppose something like this would all be done in phases like the highway lane widening is done. Do you have any sense where, if this project were to be approved, which end of the line would start?
sure. Yeah, and you're right. This large of a project, it would be, it would need to be phased, definitely. The way that the likely phasing sequencing would go, because the Pajaro station, they're a little bit ahead of our project because they're doing their environmental analysis right now, and we haven't quite started that. That's really the crucial connection to the state rail network for our line, and that connection is what makes our line make the most amount of sense to our funding partners at the state level and the federal level. And so for those reasons, I would envision that we would build it probably from south to north, and then having the maintenance and operation facility be a part of that first phase, and build it out for the full system, but as the first phase of the project, and then work our way north from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And then there's the operational costs.
Right.
And that's what people are scratching their heads. I think it was $41 million a year.
Correct.
Talk with us a little bit about that and how the RTC might fund that.
Yeah. So we worked with our consultants and with our partner agencies in Metro, and we've been discussing that, the estimates for that. It was difficult to estimate because, there's so many factors that could go into these numbers. And
Sure.
so the 41 million is, it's on the higher end of our estimate where we estimated, but, for our county, I think it's realistic to assume a little, on the higher end because of cost of labor and multiple factors that are unique to Santa Cruz. So yeah, just knowing like how much a half cent generates, a half a cent Measure D generates about 27 or 28 million a year. So so we would need more than half a cent to operate and maintain this facility after it's built. So there's all kinds of steps that need to happen to get to that point. And the voters, it's uncertain what their appetite is for taxing ourselves. A half a cent for Measure D was difficult to get because it wasn't our first time trying to go to the ballot, and we had tried to do transportation measures prior to Measure D in 2016, so could possibly take multiple attempts at the ballot But there's a lot of uncertainty around that, and part of that is going to be included in the financial analysis, because not only do we have to pay for the operation and maintenance once it's complete, but we also need to have a local match for the construction of the project. And if you think about, 20% being the minimum local match for construction, that's a lot.
That is a lot.
We have to work that into our local new funding source. And currently, our only option is to have sales tax, because our agency, that's the only kind of revenue generator that we're able to do currently. But we're exploring other possible revenue generating strategies too, to see, we would need like some sort of legislation to pass for us to be able to collect other types of taxes. But so currently, I mean, the likely revenue generator is a sales tax.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's any talk about doing something similar to what the Land Trust did with Measure Q, to get a parcel tax, calling it a citizen initiative, to address concerns around water, wildfire, parks, and that was able to get passed with a 50% plus one. Is the RTC looking at partnering or encouraging any, I guess, nonprofit groups like what the Land Trust did?
Not really at this time. We, we'll see how the commission and the community, at the end of the concept report, like what are our next steps, and what's our appetite to move forward, and what kind of funding is available to continue with environmental, because we still have to do the environmental analysis, which is very difficult to get grant funding for. So we kind of have to
fund that on your own.
Yep. We have to fund that on our own, most likely. We're always looking for grants, and we're pretty successful at getting them. But the reality of it is there's just not a lot of grant opportunities out there for, like, say, to fund environmental. So yeah, it's, we've got a ways to go before we actually need to start thinking about, a measure and all of that. We tend to wait until we have an approved project to put something on the ballot, because we want to show the taxpayers what they would be getting.
Some assurance of, what their money would get.
Right.
Yeah.
And that tends
Thank
to
you.
be,
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, we definitely, like, for example, Measure D, we have an expenditure plan that's very defined, right? And that's important because it builds trust with the taxpayers, and, this is what you voted for and this is what you're getting. So same deal. So that would be probably a 2030 timeframe or later, depending on availability of funds to complete the environmental analysis.
Oh, wow. So it's still a ways out.
It's a ways out. Yep.
Wow. Can anything be done to use the rail in the meantime, like a bus converted to rail, or PRTs, something like that?
Yeah, it's an active freight line, so we have some regulatory challenges with, the Federal Railroad Administration and California Public Utilities Commission, excuse me, CPUC, with, using it for kind of alternative things that are not, that wouldn't necessarily mix well with freight.
But there's no freight.
I know. Yeah. Well, there's freight in Watsonville.
Yeah.
So the first 3 miles of our line from Pajaro up to about Lee Road, there's several customers in Watsonville that are being served with freight rail.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
Ah.
But north of that, there's not a lot of demand, and the condition of the line isn't sufficient to serve freight. We've got a couple bridges that are out of service. So, yeah.
Because it just seems that it could be used somehow. I see the long line of cars coming in the mornings from the Watsonville area, and I don't know
Right.
if any of those would use if they could even have I don't know, a golf cart that runs on rail, something, just to give some relief to those folks sooner than it sounds like what a train could provide.
Yes, I am very interested in putting our line to use in some way. But it's challenging. We've got the freight easement. It's a regulatory challenge for using it for anything else besides, heavy rail.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that has to be changed too as part of this passenger rail. You have to get approvals from the CPUC?
We would definitely have to get approvals from the CPUC to do passenger rail.
Wow.
And we'd have to comply with all of their standards and regulations and general orders that they have. It would be a pretty extensive approval process. Definitely.
There was for a short time something called the Daisy. It was sort of looked like a little trolley that ran in sections, and then there was the pilot, the Coast Futura that ran. How did the CPUC react to those?
Well, let's see. So the what you called the pilot, which was the demonstration, it was sold as a demonstration. So it was a short-term, temporary kind of arrangement to operate, and they had to comply with all the CPUC regulations. The biggest kind of challenge around that was the signals, because none of our railroad signals work between Santa Cruz and Capitola. So I think the folks who put on the demonstration, either hired people or got volunteers.
I know there were a lot of volunteers that
to
helped
flag
with that.
at the intersections,
Yeah.
so that they could cross safely. So I recalled that was about, I want to say 2021.
Yeah, that
when
sounds
that
right.
happened.
Mhm.
Yeah. So and then the Daisy, I mean, they had to have the right insurance and comply with all the rules, just like any operator would. And we actually just recently purchased a high rail truck, which is a pickup truck that can go on the rail line.
Oh.
And that's been abundantly helpful for inspections, especially in the locations of our line that are not easily accessible. So it's really going to help us streamline our inspections of our line, because there's vegetation growth that needs to be dealt with. There's drainage facilities that need to be inspected and cleared and make sure that they're not clogged and things like that. So we've actually learned a lot about, the Federal Railroad Administration, all the codes and rules, and how to essentially be an operator.
Yeah.
Because we're operating our high rail out there now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
How often do you have to do those inspections?
Well, because they were so labor intensive, we used to just do them twice a year. And we did them on foot with multiple staff. We would break up our team into pairs, and then we would work our way down the line and walk all 32 miles.
Wow.
And it would take usually about a week. And then we had to come back to the office and do all the post-processing. But now it's a lot easier. I was out there yesterday. I went from Mar Vista to Seabright and did an inspection. And we've got some work to do to clear vegetation and things. And we're working through, we've got the goats coming back.
Oh, nice.
And they're gonna help us with vegetation control at a few sections coming up in the next month or so. But it's great to get out there. It's difficult to access unless you have a maintenance type of vehicle like that.
So you went over the Capitola Trestle.
I did.
How was that?
Well, between us friends, I'm afraid of heights.
Yeah, me too.
And so I was a little nervous, but it was beautiful, beautiful
Yeah.
view. I mean, that's quite a lovely bridge. It's, it has its challenges with its condition and all of that, but it's pretty iconic. And yeah, I could see across the bay. It was beautiful.
Wow.
And it was a sunny day yesterday, so what a
Wow.
treat.
Yeah, yeah. What fun. Between us friends, I've seen I've seen a pirate video. Someone built this little gizmo that ran on the rails. He videoed the whole trip from Davenport to Watsonville, and it was an electric little cart, and he actually had an electric hedge trimmer, and he had to get out and trim back the pampas grass. And maybe you don't want to be hearing this,
It sounds highly illegal.
but he did it to show people what condition, that it is navigable, but there are areas where the vegetation is really overgrown. So I'm sure you saw that in your assessment too.
Yes, definitely. There's quite a
Yeah.
bit of overgrowth, but we're doing some mowing piece by piece. We did Aptos Village before the parade.
Oh yes, thank you. I noticed that.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you
Yes,
noticed it.
I
Not many
did.
people do.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
And then we're going section by section through Aptos and a couple locations
Yeah.
south.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
Good. Well, where can people see this information about the zero emission passenger rail project? And are there going to be open houses coming up where they can see it, get online, register comment? How can we learn more about this and get involved?
Sure. Well, we tend to do quite a bit of community outreach. In the past, leading up to this point, we've hosted community meetings, but we're taking a little bit of a different approach this time because I think people value more the one-on-one aspect of, being able to talk to the HDR team, the experts, and Riley, who's the project manager.
Yeah.
And so what we set up are, they're called office hours.
Yeah.
And we provide like time slots for people like to make an appointment to come in and to talk with the team. And we had office hours in I want to say it was I think it was actually late June with the team in Santa Cruz and in Watsonville. And then we're going to do it again once the full concept report and the financial analysis is out. So we're planning another round in August. And I just want to make sure I get the web page correct before I say it on the radio. So zeprt.com is a virtual open house for the project. And we're requesting feedback from the community before August 22nd. And this online open house, there's an incredible amount of information available through kind of a multi-step process that we've gone through. So we've gone through 4 different milestones, and we've highlighted certain things at each milestone, and we're kind of coming to the end. So now we put everything in the open house. You can, make an appointment for the office hours. You can email and make a comment in the open house website. We encourage everyone to join the mailing list so that they get announcements for other things. Sometimes we have informational sessions when we're hearing from the community. People are really interested in a certain thing and they have a lot of questions that are consistent. We're hearing repeat questions. Sometimes we'll just have an information session to kind of, educate and try to get some good feedback and engagement in that way. So we just had, Tuesday, Next week we have one on July 22nd, and this is a presentation on the conceptual station design options.
Oh,
And it's hybrid. You could come in person at our office downtown Santa Cruz, or you could join online. And all this information's on the zeprT.com open house.
oh, very good. So next Tuesday, there would be an opportunity for people to learn more about where the stations might be. Is that what I'm hearing correctly?
Let's see. It's station locations, but I think it's more so like design, like amenity type of options, design options.
Uh-huh. Because that was one, I've been to as many of the open houses and information things as I could. One thing that surprised me was, well, two things I was found very interesting. The station that would serve Cabrillo College. That's going to be a big feeder, I think, because of the 600 plus bed dormitory Cabrillo College is building right across the freeway from what I think could be the station for this on McGregor in that area.
Wow.
That's coming. That's imminent. That will be shared with UCSC. So there would be a lot of student traffic that would use a train to get from Cabrillo College dormitories to UCSC. And the two options I saw there was either an underground tunnel under Highway 1
Or
or
an
something
overpassing.
going over. So I'm curious about both of those.
Of course you are. Yeah, I mean, it would make sense to have a connection to Cabrillo.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And so I'm hoping that there will be some information about that, what that design might look like, where it would be. But my second, perhaps bigger question is, why would passenger rail not go up to the west side? That isn't planned, is it, or has that changed?
I mean, it's uncertain right now, but we looked at options, and having the end of the line in closer to downtown Santa Cruz,
Yeah.
and then looking at options for extending to the west side. It didn't have a big impact on the ridership. So that means, having that west side extension may not really, pan out from a benefit standpoint, because if it was going to be this huge ridership benefit, then, the additional cost to get from downtown to the west side would, make sense, right? But what we found is it's an option, and it's no decision has been made per se, but the big question in people's minds in that area is, how do people get to UCSC?
Yeah.
And what we found through our modeling and working with Metro and with their ridership information is that there's not a big difference, or any difference for that matter, for the UCSC connection of having the west side versus downtown, because either way they have to get on a bus and go up to the university. And so it's an option, but it's not, it didn't quite provide the level of benefit.
The numbers that you
Right.
need to see to extend the service out there.
Right. It's
But-
still in the project concept, but I
Okay.
could see us environmentally clearing it, but maybe it being a future phase, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, because I'm thinking, I was at a feed store on Swift Street this morning, and there's the very large housing complex that the university is building right there next to the track. And that seems like a good source of ridership right there.
Yeah.
And then if you look at further up the line to Davenport, the opening of the Catoni Coast and San Vicente Redwoods, that could be something that could maybe be even just a summer tourist, excursion or something like that, but also provide rail service to Davenport. What do you think?
Well, we've considered all the things that you mentioned. The north coast of our county is pristine. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, it would make sense to have some sort of excursion train that goes up to Davenport. There's been talk, and people who are interested in that. But there's quite a bit of cost associated with getting something like that up and running. I mentioned infrastructure earlier, and we have a few bridges on the north coast that are not in service. They can't handle the weight of a locomotive, and so those repairs would need to get done. The tracks in certain areas are not in very good condition. We have
Covered with sand.
we have grading. Yeah, we have drainage issues up there, and a lot of the agricultural sediment runoff, just kind of piles up on our railroad tracks up there, and it's sensitive habitat, so it's really costly and difficult to clear that. And so, it's not infeasible, but we definitely realize that there are some challenges associated with getting something like that up and running. And given all the other priorities in our region for transportation, it hasn't rose to the top.
Well, maybe it will. You've said that if passenger rail starts, it would likely start in the South County area. Maybe by the time it gets to the north, things would be different. The trail is up there, adjacent to the track. That was funded by RTC or the city, or I've been a little confused by these partnerships that RTC has. The county runs some segments of the projects, and the city of Santa Cruz, I understand, ran, the trail up on the west side.
Right.
Help me understand this.
Sure.
Thank you.
So you're right in that RTC isn't always the ones, delivering and constructing the projects. So we partner with the local jurisdiction, so City of Santa Cruz, who implemented Segment 7 of the Coastal Rail
And
Trail.
what area generally is Segment 7 for those listening?
Natural bridges to Bay California was phase 1, and then Bay California to Pacific Avenue, like the wharf roundabout, was phase 2.
Yeah. And that just opened.
Yeah. And they're the implementing agency for the trail extending from the wharf roundabout all the way to 17th Avenue, known as Segment 8 and 9.
And the city is doing that?
Yes, City of Santa Cruz. Yep.
Wow.
Yes. So going back to the North Coast, it was the RTC that initiated this project through applying for a federal land access program grant. Shortly after the Monterey Bay Sanctuary Scenic Trail Master Plan was completed. Because of the planning for the monument on the North Coast, there was interest, and it made our project competitive because it would provide this trail that would go from the city of Santa Cruz up to the monument, essentially. So we were able to secure some funds from the Federal Land Access Program, and there's a local match associated with that. But I think the total project, when it went to bid and was awarded, it was about a $40 million trail project, construction project. It's about 7.5 miles long, goes from Wilder Ranch State Park all the way to Davenport. And it's under construction now. There's a few parking lots that are also being constructed as part of this project, and those are under construction. One's about to open in the next month or so, and then that project's going to be done about a year from now. Yep.
Wow.
It's going to be pretty iconic.
Yeah, that'll be a beautiful ride.
Yep.
So how wide will that trail be?
It's a 12-foot wide trail.
And the rail adjacent cannot be used. Couldn't something happen there, Sarah? I just feel like we've got to use these rails.
I agree with you. We're constantly working on it and trying to, clear the tracks and figure out the environmental
Yeah.
piece of it. So we're still working on it. It's just, given all the other needs, it's really difficult to prioritize that over, really, I think our board and our vision is, improving transportation between Watsonville and Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
That's really the core. We want folks who live in Watsonville to be able to get to jobs in the job centers north, and
What about contracting with Roaring Camp to do an excursion train up to North Coast? And I'm hanging on to it because I've ridden the train there back in 1996. I was very, very pregnant with our son, and there was a demonstration train that we actually went to San Jose to catch, and there was an option to ride up to Davenport, and I did that, and it was incredibly beautiful. And I've got to think that we can make that happen here. Has Roaring Camp expressed an interest in doing anything up on that section that could be beneficial?
I mean, it's come up in conversation, but nothing serious, just because we're all aware of the investment that would be needed in order to get something like that going. We have a pretty big bridge that would need to be repaired. It's the Antonelli Bridge. It's just on, north of the Natural Bridges Drive grade crossing.
Oh, yeah.
It's over a waterway, and it's in poor condition and needs quite a bit of work to be able to handle a train.
Well, I will keep my fingers crossed. Time has flown by. We're down to 1 minute here. Give us, please, one more plug for how we can get involved and learn more. And again, I want to thank you very much for coming in today. Sarah Christensen from the RTC.
Thank you, Becky. Sure, you could always visit our website at sccrtc.org and sign up for our mailing lists. We have the Zero Emission Passenger Rail and Trail Project ongoing outreach through August 22nd. You could find more information at zept.com. We have office hours. I just looked up the dates and times. Monday, August 4th in Watsonville, and Tuesday, August 5th at our office in downtown Santa Cruz.
Excellent.
And I also want to give one more plug to our ribbon cutting celebration for the Chanticleer Bicycle Pedestrian Overcrossing, or the Whale Bridge, as people know it as, on July 30th, 5:30 p.m. It's going to be an amazing community celebration, and we're really excited.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We're off the air now.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I
Thanks for letting me
appreciate
highlight the things.